Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Happy Thursday. Thanks so much for tuning into the program. Make sure that you click that like button if you are tuning in as a regular. If it's your first time here and you enjoy the content that you're seeing today, make sure that you subscribe to the channel that you're watching us on so that you can get more awesome daily updates. The Wake Up America show is every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a 2-hour live talk show. We've got great guests, topic, and news. It's a great way to start your day. Good morning from Nevada, says Mrs. Walker. Nice to see you here. Thanks for getting up even earlier than us. Paul Tate joining us here this morning, as well as Dash, my lovely wife Stephanie, as well as Caleb Vanderfelt, Doug H., Quest Fanning, Joni Rankin, Chris Morrill, Corey C., and JP. A lot of people over there on YouTube. Good to see you all here today. Give yourselves a little pat on the back. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Grateful to have you here. Sad news in the story of the Titanic tourist sub that's missing in the Atlantic Ocean. The final hour has come. It is believed that the Titanic tourist submersible that vanished on a trip to the 112-year-old shipwreck at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean is believed to have run out of oxygen. Authorities are pushing forward with that search operation this morning, but Ocean Gate Expeditions is equipped with only 96 hours of oxygen. The timer ran out around 7:08 a.m. Thursday morning. Well, that's actually just a few minutes from now if you're watching us live, so at least on Central Time. We're not entirely sure. This is an approximation. Now, there are some possibilities that the people who were on board the submarine understood the nature of the predicament that they were in. They may have done everything that they could to conserve oxygen, which is why those rescue operations will continue throughout today. But after today, it will be believed to be a salvage operation, not a rescue operation, and our hearts do go out to the families of the people who are involved with this one. It was a cautionary tale, however, and one that we will discuss this morning at the top of this show. After that, things get a little bit lighter. Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk agreed to a cage match. Yeah, no kidding. And they did it in true social media fashion. I can't wait to share the clip with you. The tweets online that people have posted showing them getting ready to gear up for what appears to be what would be, I consider, the fight of the century. Where do you think I would come down in terms of who I think would win? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Send us a text at 573-319-1586. Who do you think would win in a match between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg? I already see people taking both sides of this. There's a difference between who I think would win and who I would actually, who I want to win, who I think would win, who I would want to win versus who I would actually put money on. I'd love to hear your take on this one. And honestly, I feel like we need more celebrity death matches, don't you think? I used to love that show, that claymation show on, what was it, Adult Swim? They used to do Celebrity Death Match, but it was all claymation. It would be awesome if they actually brought that to life and we could see billionaire tech titans battling it out. I'd be curious to see. Let's hear from you, though. You can send the text to the show today at 573-319-1586. We're grateful to have you here watching the show with us today, and we'd love to hear from our listeners. At 7:30 this morning, I ran a poll yesterday that had some surprising results. If you had to vote and choose between Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump, well, 5,221 votes on my Twitter account yesterday, very popular poll, showed a clear winner between Donald Trump and RFK Jr. Now, you would think Austin Peterson, right-leaning libertarian, a lot of people who follow him, probably conservatives, Republicans, libertarian types, you would think that that would necessarily go one way, but you would probably be surprised to hear the results. And we're going to discuss those results with my buddy David Winery. He's an attorney and lawyer from Kansas City. He's going to talk to us this morning about why he chose to side with the majority in the results of this poll. So what about you? Who would you vote for? If you had a gun to your head, who would you vote for between Donald Trump and between Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I love that you guys, Mrs. Walker is already commenting in this morning on the Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon match. She says it's tough. Mark is physically more in shape than Elon, but Elon would probably pull out a flamethrower. This is my first time seeing your comments here, Mrs. Walker. You're very funny. Thank you for joining us today. We're grateful to have you here this morning. Mrs. Walker already here on Twitter as well. She's got her coffee and she's tuning in. Glad to have you here, Mrs. Walker. We appreciate you very much. At 7:51 today, we're going to talk about a student who was excoriated for refusing to accept that her classmate identifies as a cat. What? No, it's true, and, there's actual audio of this, and it's freaking hilarious. So the teenagers are arguing with the teacher, about whether or not their fellow student should be referred to as their cat pronouns, because it's not just he, her, they, them, zazer anymore. It's now if your classmate wants to identify as an animal or a furry or whatever the hell it is, hey, folks, it's 2023, okay? You gotta deal with this stuff now. But the fact that there's actual audio of this is just chef's kiss. Love it, hilarious. I will play it for you. You will be excited. It will be lots of fun. All right, all right. And then Camelia Peterson joins us today at 8 a.m. I'm looking forward to hearing from her. Apparently, cisgender, the term cisgender, is now being considered a slur online on Twitter, and you can be suspended for using it, according to Elon Musk, which now I think everybody's just got to figure out what the hell cisgender means, because I thought that I knew what it meant, but now I think I don't understand what it means. And Camelia, when I sent her this story yesterday, did all this research and digging, and she it sounded like she came away more confused as well. But she's the most educated on it now between the two of us. At 8 a.m., we're going to talk about why, if you use cisgender on Twitter, you might be suspended because apparently it's a slur, and some people use it as slurs. But you know what? I don't dwell in a world. I don't live. Do you live in a world where people use the term cisgender anything but ironically? Because I sure as hell don't. I live in the middle of the woods in Missouri, and nobody out here uses the term cisgender. And if they do, I had a guy the other day when I was last weekend. We were out on a river raft tour down the what river were we on? I can't remember, the Huzzah River or something like that, with my buddies. And we're all out there having a good time floating down the river. And this really drunk redneck guy, super annoying, tries to hand me a Bud Light. Okay. Now, when what would you think? Let me ask you this, you, the listener, right now. And before I tell you how I answered this, if somebody offered you a Bud Light, um, how would you respond these days? Now, if somebody said, "Hey, do you want a Bud Light?" I mean, you're plugged in. If you watch the Wake Up America show, you're a news junkie. You like to know what's going on in the world, right? So you would probably have reacted the same way that I reacted, which is to be offended. I was honestly like, I was like, hell no, I don't want a Bud Light. Because here's the thing, I thought when he did that, when he was offering me the Bud Light, that if I accepted the Bud Light, that he was going to be like, "Oh, you're gay," or you're going to call me the F word that I can't say, because not that I wouldn't say it, it's just that social media won't let me say it, because the FCC won't let me be, or I guess Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk or whoever owns these things these days. Um, but if somebody offered you, I mean, Chris Morrill says a free beer is a free beer, bro. Well, first of all, you never know where people have been or what they've done with things. I try not to. I don't take drinks from weird people, to be honest. Do you? Do you take drinks from weird people? Somebody weird offered you. I will admit that I took a Jello shot, right? And maybe that wasn't the best idea, because at least that was because that was opened versus the Bud Light, which at least is sealed, and you could tell it hasn't been tampered with. But you just never know. Maybe they took a needle and they jabbed the COVID vaccine inside of it because they want to sterilize me and turn me into a newt. I did get turned into a newt, but I got better. The Bud Light thing, though, when he tried to hand it to me, I just automatically assumed that he was going to be like, "Ha ha, you're gay," or something like that. He was just like, "Oh, they were going to like, ha ha," because these guys are, right. So I said, "Hell no." And then he was kind of surprised. And then I was surprised that he was surprised. And I was like, "Listen, bro, let me just," because he wanted to trade. He's like, "Give me a beer for a beer." So I was like, "All right, man, how about I just give you a Yingling and you keep the Bud Light?" And he's like, "Yingling, what is that? Oh, I never heard of it, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh no." I was like, he's not going to like it. Because anybody who drinks Bud Light, I mean, no offense, but I mean, not only are you a member of the LGBTQIA community, right, and possibly confused about your gender, but you also, uh, I mean, you have no taste. No offense. Sorry. I know. I don't give you a boo. I know some of you drink anything, right? So I don't drink that swill. But anyways, so I gave him the Yingling, caught up with him later down the river, and he's like, "Oh, that tasted terrible, blah, 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 blah." And I was just like, "Not my countryman, not my country. From now on, it's going to be
America first, okay? America first.
Exactly. Sup, AP. What's up, Jared Pierce? Nice to see you here. Quest Fanning says he's selective about the beer he chooses. I am too. There's nothing wrong with being selective about the beers you choose and about the guests that you book to your show. Daniela Pensack will be joining us this morning. You know Daniela. Cute as a button from the West Coast. She gets up 2 hours earlier than the rest of us do because it's a lot earlier over there, and joins us on the show every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. And she's going to talk to us at 8:35 about the Elon. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, they've added the infinity symbol to the pride flag. I kid you not. Have you heard this? So you know how they have the pride flag and it was the rainbow flag, but then they added that weird pink, purple, white, black, brown to the side of it, right? And have you seen the meme where they shared it with the flag when you put the flag, like 4 of those new flags together, you can actually see a swastika on this one? I'm kidding you not. I'm not kidding. But now they've actually added the infinity symbol to the pride flag. So it's weird as hell. Oh man, looks like Rumble's falling a little bit behind this morning. Good morning though to all of our friends over there. Will Run Riot, Nelson 65, my lovely wife Stephanie P for Liberty, having a nice chat over there. Make sure you click that like button if you're watching us on Rumble. Usually they put us on the front page of Rumble, but maybe not today, and that's why the number's a little bit lower than they are over on YouTube. But of course, YouTube is where the Cantina crew goes to hang. So we appreciate all them very much. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, what are you doing watching the Wake Up America show and not giving us a little love? Please do so. Click on that like button. And if you haven't watched us before, make sure you subscribe. Oh, they do have us on the front page. Okay, maybe my content sucks. Who knows? It's the content. It's my fault, not yours. Okay, let's talk about the news here. Deep sea robot Victor 6000 was rushed to the site in Titanic race against time rescue. Rescue crews have been plumbing the depths of the Atlantic for this Titanic submersible that was lost on Sunday with 5 people aboard. They've been getting assistance from this robot, the Victor 6000. It's a highly advanced deep sea craft and one of the few vessels on Earth that's actually capable of making it down and reaching the wreck. They rushed it down to the search site, but it wasn't expected to have arrived until last night. So it was about 12 hours before the oxygen supply on the missing submersible, which is expected to run out this morning. Well, as I was talking there, the deadline has passed. Now, the rescue would have to see this Victor 6000 accompanied by a surface boat, the Horizon Arctic, which is a tug and supply ship with a large cable. The deep sea craft would have to take down with it towards the wreck of the Titanic. And of course, there were some hopes that were pinned on potential sounds that were picked up, some banging sounds that were picked up on sonar. But unfortunately, even though they heard those sounds, they weren't able to determine the location of those sounds. And The Simpsons was trending this morning because they're claiming that The Simpsons actually made another prediction of this situation. I'll leave that up to you to decide. Take a listen.
Today I'm filled with joy, searching for treasure with my long-lost son. My dream for each of you is that you find the happiness I feel today.
And my dream is to someday wear a real wetsuit instead of one that is just painted on.
Missed a spot. There we go.
These waters contain some of Mother Nature's most stunning creatures.
Haha, that's what you get for being luminous, jerks.
Homer, look! The treasure of Piso Mojado!
Hey guys, we found the treasure. When I get to shore, I'm bringing it right to the bar.
I'll see you soon, Homer. We got somebody else coming in.
This is WA3QIZ.
pause that for just a moment because typically when you're playing a clip like these in the show, they will try and bring you down for copyright, which I'll probably get nailed with. But if you're watching this video later and wondering where the Simpsons clip was, I probably had to remove it and cut out that part of the segment, so you can actually just search it up on your own and have to look it up on your own. My apologies.
Do you read me?
Seymour, isn't it about time you made a real friend?
Mother, please. I'm communicating with my fellow hams.
How do I talk? Push this button here. You're all losers!
Oh, which way did Mason go? That must be him over there. No!
What do you think? Did The Simpsons predict that one? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send us a text at 573-319-1586. And when we get back, I'm going to analyze the upcoming fight between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. I got video clips to show you. We're going to talk about who we think would win. I'd love to hear your thoughts when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It was 1946. A battle was fought, not overseas, but right here on American soil. The Battle of Athens. An intense struggle against election fraud and for the rights promised by our founding fathers. Driven by the Second Amendment, ordinary citizens stood tall and fought back. Help us expose this momentous battle of integrity and bravery. Your support can make a difference. Visit givesendgo.com/bleedamerican and pledge your support, because we believe in the power of truth, the strength of unity, and the spirit of we the people. Let us not forget, we bleed American.
Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Grateful to have you here today. Make sure you click that like button if you're watching us today live, or even if you're watching us later, you can still click like. Some people watch the YouTube stream afterwards, after all. We're grateful to have you here. If you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, make sure you click that subscribe button. We'll be grateful to have you join us more often on the program today. All right, let's see what's going on here in the world. Oh, yeah. Oh, 2 billionaires agree to fight. I'd love to see things like this. Wouldn't this be great if more billionaires and powerful politicians, instead of going to war, would just actually fist fight it? You know, go out there and just fight it out amongst themselves. You'd love to see it. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg seemingly agree to fight each other in a cage match. That's right. Musk tweeted, "I'm up for a cage match if he is," referring to Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg then shared a screenshot of Musk's tweet on an Instagram story and included the message, "Send me location," indicating a willingness to participate in such a fight. You'd love to see it. Barney Styles says, "I'm clearly rooting for Elon, but I think Mark has better stamina and training and would likely win." We'll see. That's kind of how I feel. Apparently they're serious about it, though, because Meta spokesperson Iska Sarek has spoken to the press saying the story speaks for itself. Musk tweeted, "Vegas Octagon. I have this great move that I call the walrus, where I just lay on top of my opponent and do nothing." Zuckerberg announced, however, that he has earned medals at his first jiu-jitsu tournament. Wow. Musk says that he doesn't exercise much. He says, "I almost never work out except for picking up my kids and throwing them in the air." He did say during his youth he was picked on and was involved in real hardcore street fights. That doesn't really matter. Street fights, for those of us who understand mixed martial arts and fighting, street fights don't mean jack. I'll tell you, whenever somebody says, if you're a martial artist and someone says to you, somebody says, "Oh, they're a street fighter," you go, "Oh, okay." I mean, I can kick their ass pretty easily, right? I mean, very, very rarely does a street fighter have any idea. Usually you see street fighters and they come up and they're like, "I'm gonna fight you," then they're like this, and this is like, "Oh, show you how to fight," right? Like this, you know? Have you ever seen videos of guys like that, the street fighters? Anyways, well, let's take a look at what Mark Zuckerberg's cooking over there, because honestly, Zuckerberg's got some moves. Take a listen. Take a look at this. There you go. All right, now watch. Let's see that. See that head movement? There you go. That's a nice little move right there. Those little leg kicks and things like that. I will take you out. I don't care how big you are. Zuckerberg has got some of the best trainers in the world, and he has been training. Well, look at that. See that head movement? That's what you want. Now he's down on the ground, right? It's a good turnabout there. That wall training right there like that, that's very useful in a cage match. All right, let's pause for just a moment here. Move on here a little bit. Watch this. Here we go. It's a nice left-right. Good roundhouse kick by Zuck. Boom, 1-2. He's got the training, you can tell here. Good blocks. You know, he's blocking his sides. Mark Zuckerberg, 1-2 with the 1-2, 1-2-3. Now, the last part here, this one, he's got one of the best mixed martial arts trainers in the world. Well, he can afford it. Watch this. You know, this is what we call rolling, right, in the jiu-jitsu world. Goes in, takes a single leg, takedown, does the mount, gets mounted on the side. Fairly good escape there. Watch Mark Zuckerberg working. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big you are. I know you think, "Oh, somebody's big and strong," but like Jiu-jitsu versus bodybuilder. This was one of my favorite videos that on the internet, honestly. I probably watched this like 20 times, where these two this bodybuilder challenged a jiu-jitsu guy to a fight. Right, now watch this guy here. God damn it. Why do they have to have the stupid music there? Okay, now watch this, right? He comes in. He's got the bodybuilder here. He's working his leg. All right, working his leg. Bodybuilder's like jacked. Elon Musk is not jacked. This jiu-jitsu guy is not like cut or ripped or anything like that. Look at that. Now he's working that leg for a good reason. Watch, because he wants him to throw his fist down. Watch what happens here very soon, right? He comes in, boom, boom, left, right, opens up his nostrils right there. Blood starts flowing immediately with a good right cross, left jab. Then you think, oh, well, he'll just get him on the ground and he'll just pummel him. Well, that's where the jiu-jitsu guy wants him, right? And look at him flipping this guy, this bodybuilder. Bodybuilder can't hold his balance, right? He thinks he's got him, but the jiu-jitsu guy just brings him in. Look, he tries to land some punches. Watch this. You don't want to punch somebody on the top of the head. I'll tell you that much. I've done that. It hurts. Look, miss, boom, can't get any strength. Boom, misses, goes for punches, misses. And this is a bodybuilder, you understand, right? Look at that. And he's just bleeding out all over him, right? Look at that. Can't touch him. Boom. Look at that. So I just got to say, I'm rooting for Elon. Elon, you're my boy. But I'm putting my money on Mark Zuckerberg. What do you think? Is Mark Zuckerberg still an alien? Well, that would mean that he has alien powers. Speaking of aliens, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. won a poll of him versus Donald Trump yesterday by an incredible percentage. And one of the people who agrees with that, says that he would vote for Robert F. Kennedy over Donald Trump, is my next guest, David Winery. We'll talk to him when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here. And we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mum, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great! Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me pups build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. All right, well, before I bring in my next guest, while we're on the topic of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg fighting, let me ask you something. Who do you think would win in a fight between Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg on the same team versus this person in this video? Watch this. Holy jeez. Look at that. Look at that chick. Oh my God, dude. Okay, look at her. Okay, boom. Look at her. She's trying to smash this window and she actually cracks it with her hands. Gets up on top of the car and then boom. Now, check out the tattoos right here on her leg. You ever see a chick with a barbed wire tattoo around her upper thigh like that and she's jacked? Don't date her, bro. If it was Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk versus this chick, I'm putting all my money on this chick. All right, well, what if it was Donald Trump versus Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? No, not in a cage fight, in a fight for the presidency of the United States. Well, it could happen, right? Sure, and monkeys might fly out of my butt. Well, stranger things have happened. Nobody believed Donald Trump would become president of the United States. But my next guest says if it was between Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump, he'd vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Wait a minute. I thought he was a Republican. He's a Republican lawyer and friend of mine of the show from Missouri, my home city of Kansas City. David Weinreich joining us now. Good morning, David.
Morning, Austin. How are you doing?
All right. Explain thyself, Republican. Explain thyself, you dirty traitor. If you were at Mar-a-Lago right now, they'd throw you out.
I'm probably in trouble, but I always like to think of myself in that forgotten realm of the Pat Buchanan conservative. And Pat Buchanan was very anti-war on a lot of things. No one's ever going to accuse Pat Buchanan of being a neoconservative. And I think that we all have our certain single issue voting. Normally it's guns or abortion, but in my case, my single issue voting is who wants to stop wars.
Okay, well, make your case here, because Donald Trump was a fairly anti-war president, right? I mean, you could say this, and he's got a record on such. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a Democrat. You know how Democrats love war, and he certainly doesn't have a record. So, make your case.
Okay, I think probably the best case to make for RFK Jr. is maybe not very conventional, but I'm a big believer in, say, karma. And, his uncle, regardless of how you think he died, he was murdered, as was his father. And I believe that he has some of their ideas, lower taxes, also less regulations. He's honestly on record as saying that he's a huge anti-gunner in the past, but he's on the record as saying now that, I have to go along with the Bill of Rights as they are written. And when's the last time a Democrat cared about the Bill of Rights of all? And I just think that why not have him come out, lend his voice? There were problems with the vaccine. There still are problems with the vaccine. Maybe no side is 100% right. And maybe everybody, we're going to have to deal and reckon with that issue at some point. But when it comes right down to it, I'm also a big Nuremberg guy as far as the vax goes. You need to have informed consent to allow yourself to be involved in an experimental medical program. And I think a lot of that was thrown out the window during the vax. Whether you agree with the vax or not, I don't agree with people being forced to do anything, especially medically, against their will.
For sure. That's definitely a big point in RFK's column because Donald Trump, of course, is still out there defending the vaccination program that he instituted, which is fascinating because, I mean, whether you're anti vax or pro vax or whatever, it doesn't matter because I think the majority of Donald Trump's supporters are definitely on the other side of this issue, and it's a big issue for them. And so I think that's probably why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. received 20% higher votes than Donald Trump did in a poll of my followers, of which are the majority of them are libertarians and conservative types. Wouldn't you agree?
I could not agree more. And I think what's even more curious about Trump and being the father of the vaccine, or whatever he wants to call himself, is that prior to him going into elective politics, he was definitely in the RFK Jr. camp of being anti-vax on a lot of issues, and not just the COVID vaccine, but a lot of various other childhood vaccines that they say that cause various side effects for giving too many too fast to children. I mean, I think when we were growing up, would we have 4 or 5 vaxes, and now they want someone to have like 60? I think that's a little crazy.
No, for sure. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson, and you are listening to my friend David Winery. He is a Republican attorney in the Kansas City area, and he's joining us now. We're talking about why, if he had a choice between Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump, he would choose Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, you've been a big Trump supporter in the past, David, so that's why I thought it was interesting to see how you came down on that poll. But there are a lot of problems with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He may have been, an advocate of medical freedom when it came to the vaccine, but he said that people like you and I ought to be thrown in prison for climate change denial. I mean, no matter when he's changed his tune on guns now that he's running for president, David. But do you really trust a politician who is one way all their life, and then when they're running for office, changes their tune and is telling you what you want to hear?
I guess that's kind of a loaded question because I would like to think that I am more advanced intellectually, so to speak, to never trust a politician. But I mean, we got to sometimes give these people a chance, and we get a lot of people. I mean, I hate to go back to the whole voting for the lesser of two evils because I'm not necessarily ashamed of voting for Trump at all. I mean, I voted for Perot twice. I even voted for Ralph Nader way back in the day. So I've always been willing to, go with people who are a little bit out there and whatever. But I mean, RFK Jr., sure. Climate denial, I think, is just it's getting there with, abortion and gun control, of an issue I just wish we could agree to disagree on, because I don't believe in man-made climate change. I look around at volcanoes and Mother Nature and whatnot. And I think it's a little arrogant to think that man's going to change the climate. I believe George Carlin, the great comedian, kind of thought across the same lines during one of his skits about, Mother Earth could just shake us off like fleas if she decides she didn't like what we were doing on this planet. And I think the extreme positions on all sides, if nothing else, even if you can't trust a politician, you can at least look at RFK Jr. and say, okay, he's saying a lot of the right things, and he was against this vax one. I think the vax is almost like the Great War of our time in a way. We didn't have a World War II or World War III. I still hope we don't, but this is one of those issues that people really dug in on both sides.
Have you been following the battle between Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and this Dr. Peter Hotez character who refuses to debate them?
I think Hotez could have been the most damaging person so far for the pro-vax movement. He has been absolute public relations disaster. And that's another thing about black swans in politics. I think the Democrats thought they were just going to cruise and just concentrate on Donald Trump. And RFK Jr.'s attack on their left flank, they weren't ready for it. And now you got this Hotez character that kind of he's horrible at defending the vax. So
David,
it's bad.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said a lot of other kooky things, though, that I think you probably would disagree with about, like the AIDS, the cause of AIDS, right? He's certainly not got a lot of traction within the Democratic Party. Do you think that it's worthwhile to support him, knowing that it really is an uphill battle over there on the Democratic side?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got to kind of support anybody on the Democrat side who at least is of sound mind and body. I mean, Biden is a disaster. I don't even think he knows where he's at anymore. Maybe that's an unpopular conspiratorial stance to have, but he's not all there.
Yeah, no,
And I just think,
he's
yeah,
certainly
and when
not.
if
He's
you go
certainly
into the
not. But
Dallas Buyer Club stuff, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the Dallas Buyer Club. You know, Fauci was the great enemy in that AIDS crisis back then because he was part of the AIDS treatments that were actually hurting people. I like how these vaccines kind of hurt a lot of people.
David, do you think that there'll ever be any accountability for people like Anthony Fauci?
Well, I think that I don't really know that there's going to be whatever you want to call conventional blowback on him or whatever. But if nothing else, people like that have two very huge weaknesses. One is being ridiculed. They can't handle being ridiculed, and the more he gets exposed for a lot of the lies he said, not only on this crisis but historically at other crises, public health emergencies you've had since he's been there for the last 25 years or whatever it is. So I do think that they'll be subject to ridicule, and they probably won't be very welcome in certain parts of society. And I think that will be the kind of retribution on a lot of these people that's going to be very damaging. I do see that. I do see these people losing all credibility.
Why do you think that these scientists are so afraid to debate? I mean, you would think that if they were so confident in their positions, that they would stand up for what they believe in. Do you think that it's just a false confidence and bravado?
I mean, let's see. Money money is the root of all evil, and a man needs roots. Is kind of how I look at that. And you know, when you have like the physician's desk reference, it's a popular tool, dictionary of how drugs are classified and work on various symptoms. You have that written by the pharmaceutical companies, or the same people trying to sell you the drugs. Remember, every drug that's been recalled by the FDA over the years was at one point approved by the FDA. So, I mean, it's not like these people don't make mistakes. And I just think that we're going to have a reckoning in this field. But I think it's going to lead to more freedom because the government has so messed up all their goodwill and everything. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies, nobody likes them. You look at especially Pfizer, the number one criminally penalized company in the world. They make Monsanto with all their horrible Roundup pollution look like choir boys. Pfizer's paid so many criminal fines and penalties. Sorry to.
Oh, no, it's fine. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking to David Winery. He's a Republican attorney from the Kansas City area and a friend of mine in the show. David, a couple of things really briefly. One, we have some moderators over on YouTube for our channel that are asking if you have a social media handle that you would like to promote. Or I know you do tend to like your privacy. Do you have like a public Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah, it's just Digital Pundit at
Digital Pundit.
Twitter. Yeah, at Digital Pundit.
Okay. Was there anything else, David, that you'd like to share with our listeners on this topic before we let you go today?
I would like people just to pay really close attention to the feud between DeSantis and Trump. Personally, I don't think it's completely real. DeSantis was quite the advocate of Trump when he was in the Freedom Caucus in the House, and he wouldn't be governor right now had Trump not endorsed him. I think that he's a good person to smoke out everything. When he said he's also declaring war on the government and the weaponization, the Department of Justice and FBI, I mean, DeSantis couldn't give Trump a better gift on that when though it's quite obvious and blatant that the FBI and DOJ are being completely blind and not as justice is supposed to be blind towards someone's family and a sitting president of the United States. And that's not how this country is supposed to work, as being rule of law.
Absolutely, David. Couldn't agree with you more on that one. I don't know if I would go so far as to pick RFK over Trump, but I am intrigued by your arguments on this one. And that's why I brought you on the show, and I appreciate and respect your viewpoint. Thank you for sharing with our listeners today. David Winery, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again real soon on the program.
Hey, thank you very much, Austin, for the opportunity.
Thanks, David. We'll talk to you again real soon. That's David Winery. He's a good buddy, and we're grateful to have him on the show today. All right, I've got another video clip that I want to play for you today. This is from a not primary school, but they call them college over in UK, but it's like high school age students. This is a school in southeastern England. They're under fire from parents and critics after one of their teachers chastised a student over her refusal to accept a classmate as a cat. Oh God, what the hell? What kind of world are we living in? Are we ready? You want to hear this clip? All right, take a listen to this. This is a conversation between a student and teacher, mind you.
How dare you? You've just really upset someone. Saying things like should be in an asylum.
I didn't say that. I just said if they want to identify as a cow or something, then they're like genuinely unwell. Then they've gone, they're crazy.
Give those kids a round of applause. If they want to identify as a cow or something, then they're like generally unwell. Good for you, kid.
You were questioning their identity.
No, I wasn't a question. I was just saying about the gender. I didn't say anything about them.
But where did you get this idea from? There's only two genders.
I just think it's my opinion.
Where'd you get this idea from? It was only two genders. It's Tuesday, isn't it? You got a license for that opinion?
If I respect their opinion, can't they respect my opinion?
It is not an opinion. It's not an opinion.
It's not an opinion. Oh, if it's not an opinion.
There's only two genders. Loads of people think there's only two genders. There's only a boy and a girl. Literally. There's no other private part. There's only two.
There's only a boy and a girl. I love it. I love it. These kids are educating their teacher. There's only a boy and a girl. There's no other private parts.
Gender is not linked to the parts that you were born with. Gender is about how you identify, which is what I said right from the very beginning of the lesson.
I just don't agree with that. So why should I have to listen to
biological sex, there is actually three biological sexes, because you can be born intersex. You can be born with male and female body parts.
You could be born with male and female body parts, so it's just so there's male and female. Male and female. This is the conversation between a teacher and its students. And before you say that this can't happen over here, you know it can happen over here. There's probably conversations like this going on every day in American high schools, in American public schools. This one just happened to be recorded in the UK.
Or hormones. Yeah. Did you know that?
Yeah, there's 3. There's not 300. Doesn't mean...
Yeah, there's 3. There's not 300. The student said, oh my God. It's so good. If you like this, give this stream a like just for this kid. Now, have you heard this anywhere else? Have any other shows that you watch actually played this audio for you? No. So what are you going to do about it? Leah Fox, if you're not subscribed to us over on Rumble right now, what are you going to do? You're going to click that subscribe button right now, aren't you, Leah? Well, maybe you are subscribed. But if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Let's continue this clip. And I see the Rumble numbers are starting to pick up. So make sure you like the stream and subscribe to the channel, because you're not hearing this audio, I promise, anywhere else. Take a listen. Let's continue. This is good stuff. There's 3. There's not 300. Let me back it up a little bit.
Parts or hormones.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, there's 3. There's not 300. Doesn't mean...
There's 3. It's not 300.
There's 3. I'm talking about biological sex. In terms of gender, there are lots of genders. There is transgender. There is agender, people that don't believe they have a gender at all.
Yeah, but you can't have that. You
can't have that. It's not a law.
Yeah, but it's not a law, but it's our opinion. We just don't agree with it. We just think it's all just... If you have a vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah. But cisgender is not necessarily the way to be.
Cisgender, oh, you got to be careful. You can't say that on Twitter, because that's now considered to be a slur. And we're going to talk to Camellia Peterson about that in just a few minutes. Can't wait to get Camellia on to talk about the weirdness. Don't you love the social weirdness segments? They're always so much fun.
You were talking about the fact that cisgender is the norm, that you identify with the gender that with the sexual orders that you're born with, or you're weird. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is really despicable.
How? When it's if I called my mum right now, my mum would be on my side. If I called my mum, she'd say.
Well, that's very sad as well then.
How is it? Loads of people agree with that. There's only a small majority of people who actually think that.
And why do you think we have so many problems in the world with homophobia?
Oh, the homophobia. Jesus, lady. Please, no, not the homophobia. Please, no!
Because of people expressing.
I'm fine with lesbians and gay people. Same. I've got nothing against them.
Same. But gender there is a link between it, and you're saying that people can't change
No, they
who
can't.
they want to be.
They can't. Unless you get a
so
penis
wrong.
attached. No, I'm not.
You're confusing sex and gender.
No, I'm not though. Because if you have a
you are.
vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah, you can't have a vagina and be a girl, but then
Gender
unless you get surgery, and even then, because you've got those genes.
How you identity.
I
How
just
you
don't agree with
identify.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not an opinion
Yes,
that
it
we
is.
express in this
Yes,
school.
it is.
No, it's not. And if you don't like it, you need to go to a different school. So
I did go to a
report.
See, if you do not adhere to my demands as your teacher and my leftist viewpoints, you need to get out. See, this is the leftist viewpoint writ large right here. This conversation is just absolutely riveting. If you're enjoying it, make sure you're clicking that like button on the show.
Continue to Miss Willis. You need to have a proper educational conversation.
You need to have a proper educational conversation. Maybe you need to get some discipline, eh? Oh, wouldn't it be lovely?
About equality, diversity, and
I ain't doing
inclusion.
it. My mum
Because
said
I'm
that
not
either.
having that expressed in my lesson. When I'm teaching you about you can be who you want to be,
Everyone else
how
thinks
you
it.
identify is up to you.
Everyone else thinks it. They just don't say it because then all this happens.
Maybe because they're polite and maybe they're sensitive.
I haven't said anything in all of the lessons I've been in. It's just because they turned around and started saying something. So I said, how can you identify as a cat when you're a girl?
Oh, well, they're now writing a statement. I would imagine that you'll be asked.
I mean, here's the thing. Is the teacher really trying to add, like, identifying as a cat as a gender identity? Like, are animals now considered to be a gender? It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Write a statement as well.
We will.
Yeah, we will.
It's rather dull in town, I think I'll pack me to Paris. The missus wants to open up a castle in Chablis. Wouldn't it be lovely? Lots of chocolate for me to eat. Lots of coal making lots of heat. Warm face, warm hands, warm feet. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? God. Gonna have a little My Fair Lady this morning marathon. I think Camelia would appreciate that. Let's hear what she has to say about all that and more. Cisgender is now a slur. You can't say it on Twitter. I think you should have free speech. Elon Musk brought in the whole comedy free speech thing when he took over Twitter, but apparently you can't say that now. There are some things that are too offensive for Elon Musk on Twitter. Good God, what the hell is wrong with the world we're living in? Well, can you imagine what the world would be like without the Wake Up America show? At wakeupamericashow.com. We'll be right back with more.
Good morning to the Cantina crew. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter. And I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than
Well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian.
And always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. I'm grateful to have you here. Hope you've been enjoying my Cockney accent this morning. If you're lucky, maybe I'll whip it out a little bit later on the program too. That musical theater stuff. There's only one person who actually listens to my show hoping for some kind of a musical theater reference. For everybody else, it's gay. But not for my next guest, Camelia Peterson, who, if she doesn't find a boyfriend soon, might as well be gay. Joining us now, CJ Peterson. We're friends, so I can talk to her like that. How you doing, CJ?
I feel pretty. Oh,
you
so
feel pretty. You feel pretty and witty and gay. Good morning, CJ. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling, well, a little hot right now already, but
Yeah. I don't think that I've ever used the word cisgender online, maybe once or twice. Honestly, I don't even know what it means, but now that it's provocative and now that it's supposedly banned on Twitter, or you can get suspended for using it, now I kind of want to use it. What's Elon Musk's beef? What the hell does that even mean anyway?
yeah, I know, we've heard this term, for how long, and it's been, it's been tossed around and used, as you said, ironically. And so it's at some point you're like, what did that mean after all? So I went and looked it up, and the actual literal meaning of it is just that You are the gender that was assigned to you at birth. You are your physiological gender. Ooh, big deal. So it has become a thing, though, that people in the LGBTQIA community have used as I suppose, as a slur. I mean, some people have. I've not really ever seen it as a slur necessarily. But I mean, cis and trans are both scientific terms. When you think they have Latin roots, they're used in science a lot. Can you think transverse is something that you hear in medicine, as far as physiology. And then cis is the opposite of that. So trans just literally means, across or on the other side or beyond. And cis just means on this side. And so cis is normal, is essentially what that means. And I think that's the issue, is what is normal anymore, and the attempt to redefine what's normal.
So cisgender is just normal.
Yes.
Okay, but I mean, it's like, so why is Elon Musk upset about people using a term that means normal person?
I think this is a reaction to this is Newton's third law of culture wars. This is the reaction to the left and the LGBTQ community going overboard with this thing and using it as saying that it's a hateful term to them. They use it critically, as in, they're trying to label you with something, and people don't. I mean, people who are, just a man or a woman, that's what they are. And so I think they take that offensively, because you are trying to it's not even that you're trying to redefine, but you're trying to relabel what they are, as if somehow what they are has changed. And you said J.K. Rowling was trending this morning. And J.K. Rowling, I tell you what, I love her, first of all. And yes, I like the Harry Potter series. She actually read those as an adult.
Me
I
too.
am a child.
Yeah.
But, she, to me, is like the original feminist. She has made her way in the world. She does what she wants. But she also doesn't let the extreme left, push her around on, the latest, greatest fad to be considered feminism. And she's, when it comes to transgender issues, and when it comes to, how you define gender, I mean, she's been rock solid. I mean, she's been, labeled a TERF and everything else under the sun. I mean, they have gone after her, and she's not back down. And so now she's come out and she said, that this cisgender term is basically ideology. And so that's why she refuses to use it, is that it is ideology. And I think that she's correct. And I don't so much agree with Elon that this is a slur. Maybe some people use it as a slur, but who cares? I mean, it just is. It's probably more important, the fact that they're trying to force a new label on something, because it is ideology. It's a religion.
Yeah, no. So this is what J.K. Rowling says. She says that cis is an ideological language, cis signifying belief in the unfalsifiable concept of gender identity. She added, "You have a perfect right to believe in unprovable essences that may or may not match the sexed body, but the rest of us have a right to disagree and to refuse to adopt your jargon." Your thoughts?
Right. So if we normalize using cisgender to describe, people who are whatever their sex at birth is, then we are essentially accepting that this premise that there can be more than two genders.
Mm-hmm.
We are normalizing that, and that is a hugely bad idea. We've seen this in the field of psychology, even, where they have been doing studies, and sometimes, in those studies, because they don't want to mislabel people, they will put people into either the male or female side of that study, depending on how they identify, which is terrible, terrible science, because we know that there are, very distinctive characteristics and traits between biological males and females.
Yes, absolutely. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. I'm grateful to have you here. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel that you're watching us on. If you have not subscribed already, we're grateful to have you here. You can text the show with your thoughts on what we're discussing at 573 319 1586. That's 573 319 1586. If you're wondering who that lovely lady is that is joining us right now, wouldn't she be lovely? That's Camelia Peterson, and she is spelled S-O-N. I'm Austin Peterson, 3 E's, no O's. We're not related in any way, shape, or form.
Just had
But
somebody ask me that yesterday, actually. Are you guys related? Nope.
no, we just look exactly alike.
Yeah, that's it.
Camelia, I don't like this kind of authoritarian turn that Elon Musk has taken and things like that. If if he and Mark Zuckerberg got in a fight, would you root for Elon Musk, or would you secretly hope that maybe maybe he learns a little lesson on mouthing off?
I would root for Elon Musk. I would bet on Mark Zuckerberg. And here's the thing is that Elon is my man. I love a lot of things about Elon. He is still a fallible man though. But this is why I don't really care about this whole cis slur, word thing. Like, why are we worried about considering a word a slur on Twitter? I mean, especially something like that. I mean, for Pete's sake, and I commented on this because he was responding to some other, popular woman on the right, whatever her name is, I don't know. Anyway, he was responding to her about, how that they would use this if there was a coordinated attack or whatever. And I was like, I'd kind of rather you focus on all of the PORN bots rather than, how we use words. I mean, like, it's been atrocious, and come on, man, do something about it.
Camelia, I'd like to switch subjects here for you. And kind of, I hope I don't throw you for a loop, but I know this is something that you follow a lot online, and you'll probably be able to comment on it off the top of your head here. But the question of the return of traditionalism on the right. And my friend Elijah Schaefer the other day was posting about this concept of these traditionalist female conservatives online who are constantly posting about what it means to be traditional, and they're constantly raging in the gender wars and things like that. Maybe you and I might agree with them on certain things here and there or not, but they'll have pictures of them with their tits hanging out and in these dresses that are supposed to be traditional and things like that, and it happens to be polka dot, right? They look like Betty Boop, but their big old boobies are flopping out in the wind and stuff for everybody to look at. And they call themselves traditionalists. But Elijah Schaefer actually had a really good tweet the other day where he says that, like, if you're really a traditional gal on the right, then you're probably not on social media with your boobies hanging out. He makes a good point. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, traditional women aren't attention seeking. And there
Lies, lies, lies. Boo. Boo this woman.
Okay, maybe we should qualify that with a few more things. But no, I mean,
Traditional women don't go get a higher education. They don't go to college. They don't speak their mind. They know to be quiet. They're not out there on social media posting pictures. I mean, like, real traditional women aren't doing what you're doing and showing up on podcasts and things like that. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define tradition. And a lot of these trad girl circles, or trad con circles, really kind of how they're defining tradition is they're really going for that like 50s stereotype that's really, it's what you see in the advertisements, and it's really not how it was. But that really seems to be the thing that they land on. And basically this idea, some of it's right, male and female roles, in a marriage, and your traditional family, all those kind of things. There's nothing wrong with all of those kinds of things, but I think they take it too far to where it becomes collectivist, and they don't allow for any individuality in relationships, which is crazy. Like, people should do what works best for them, and there are some things that men are better at and some things that women are better equipped for. So I just
Here's what Elijah tweeted. I actually found his tweet thing. He says female trad accounts, trad is short for traditionalists, are a big LOL. Any woman spending copious amounts on time on social media isn't trad. It's sort of a grift anyways. But if you want a trad wife, I have bad news for you. If you're looking for her on big social media accounts, ha ha. And you tweeted in response, it's getting weary. Yes, your tweet. I'm holding you accountable here, Camellia. You said it's getting wearisome how everyone seems to want to stuff men and women into restrictive little boxes. Half the comments from men on this are just as stupid as the performative trad girls. Explain thyself, woman.
Well, I mean, the men are on all there like, yeah, women need to, blah, blah, blah. Like, and they're trying to stuff women into this like ultra conservative, submissive, no personality, no, I mean, I'm sorry, but most men really don't want a woman like that because that's freaking boring. I mean,
Most men will take whatever they can get because we're thirsty. Thirsty, aren't we, boys? We are thirsty. Andy Opperman's not thirsty, though. He says, if cis is now a slur, does it bump the other C word back into the words we can say, or will we have to establish a system like C1 and C2? Very funny, Andy. Thanks for the super chat, though. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, you probably have a couple of trad accounts that that pop up. I saw this one female who's like a big trad influencer, and she's always so angry. You know what I mean? And I know that whenever women get like really really horny, they also get really really angry. So I think that's where a lot of this comes from, is that there's just a lot of like horniness out there and stuff like that, and it kind of like expresses itself through female rage, and then it kind of like attracts men who are kind of like, I'm gonna outrage you, and then we're gonna rage each other, and then we're gonna rage in the bedroom and things like that. But then I saw this trad girl the other day who she obviously is not married, and she got pregnant out of wedlock, and everybody's praising her and very excited for her and all that kind of stuff, but no one is calling her what a trad, not my words, but what a traditionalist would call her, which is a whore.
Oh, that hurts.
Not my words, but just what a tradition. If I were a traditionalist in that sense, and I'm not,
yes,
right? I'm not
definitely
calling her a whore.
Right. I think that's the double standard, is that, people who are normally on the side of traditionalism, which, okay, that's fine. Lots of good things about that. But they're also usually on the side of having children, within marriage, which, is also a good thing. But they also are pro-life. And so they also want to celebrate it when a woman keeps a child. So I think there's some conflict on how people respond to that. And I think that responding positively is appropriate.
Oh, really? But I thought that sex outside of the boundaries of marriage was not a traditional lifestyle, and I thought that we were supposed to shame people for not living a traditionalist lifestyle. But all I saw were thousands of simps and thousands of women out there praising her for her courage and congratulations, et cetera, et cetera.
So here's the thing: when you were talking about some of these trad women who are on there, and you mentioned that they are horny. You made me say that word.
They are horny, yes.
I don't know if you saw the woman the other day who I think she is married, but she's got a big account, big trad woman, and she's out here giving all of this advice because she's the authority. Maybe she's a life coach. Anyway, but she gave this scenario and said she had this friend who told her husband no, that she did not want to have sex that night, and he went ahead and did it anyway after she was asleep.
Ooh.
And so the question is that RAPE? And this woman was out there defending this man's right to do that. And this is something you see in these trad circles sometimes among the women, is this idea that you submit to the point of saying, yes, no matter what, it doesn't matter. Like, that's where we start to get into dangerous territory whenever you start to totally disregard one side for the role of the other.
Good. That's good. That's good stuff. Mrs. Walker over on the live stream, who it's our first time seeing her. She's like a new friend. She popped up. She's lots of fun. She says whore is a bit much, but trollop would be more accurate. I like trollop. That's very good. Trollop is a good one. Trollop or strumpet, says Chris Morrill. That's very good. Yes, trollop or strumpet. Also
$5, Chris.
Yes, very good. Also, floozy. That's another good one. 304, which I believe is I don't know what that is, like an anagram or something like that. I don't know for garden tool, if you know what I mean. Wouldn't a traditionalist use an old-fashioned term like slattern? Says Hikaru K. Very fun. I don't think I've heard slattern before. Maybe once in my entire life.
Yeah, me too. Maybe like once. That's not a very commonly used word at all. $10 for that one.
We're grateful to have Camelia Peterson here on the show today. We always have a lot of fun. She's always on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Central Time on the Wake Up America show. We appreciate her very much. Camelia, what else is going on in your mind today? Anything else that you'd like to discuss before we let you go?
Well, when I think about these issues like this, it's been constantly, the analogy that goes through my mind constantly anymore is Newton's third law of motion is applied to, as applied to culture wars. And, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And sometimes when, we think about this drama going on with the cisgender term and other issues, I just can't help but wonder if we create more of the problem by giving it oxygen. And it's this push and pull between like, yes, you want people to be aware that this is attempting to be done and it's stupid and whatever, but at the same time, do we kind of, do we make it normal? Do we normalize it and make it real by, giving it airtime?
Man, Camelia, why you got to be such a spoil sport? If we didn't give things airtime, we wouldn't have enough space to film this 2-hour show. Camelia Peterson, thank you for your time today, and we appreciate you very much. You can follow Camelia at Rare Camelia. Camelia, do you want to sing us out on this one?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I know. I had the perfect one. This popped up the other day. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife.
So from my personal point of view,
get an ugly girl to marry you.
That's Camelia Peterson. Ladies and gents, give her a round of applause. Camelia, we'll see you again next Tuesday at 8 a.m. Central. Thanks so much for your time. Have a good one.
Bye.
So from my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you. Hey, man. Hey, I saw your wife the other day, man. Yeah, she sure is ugly. Yeah, man, but she sure can cook. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. So from my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you. All right, let's get this story. Let's get this party started. All right. Democrats witness on Capitol Hill says there's been this news article about men that they think they can beat Serena Williams in tennis, and it's just not the case. She is stronger than them. Okay, let's get back to our social weirdness schedule. I'm just going to skip the commercial break for now until we go get Daniela Pensack here in just a few minutes to talk about more weirdness. Yes, Renee Richards. Let's take a look here at this Democrat on the Hill talking about men who might take on Serena Williams in tennis. Take a listen to this. Am I in trouble now? Did I do something? What did I do? Brian Lewis, let me know.
Women, you don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think.
You gotta love Senator Kennedy. He is very funny.
That they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female.
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Women.
Really? If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a boy, girl, your wife. Never make a cisgender your life. From my personal point of view, get a transgender girl to marry you. Be back. Daniela Pensack on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. All right, now it's time for me to talk to you about my good buddy John Burke at Shell Shock CBD and why I love Shell Shock CBD. Yes, it's an advertisement, but don't click away because let me tell you why. I've got for you an incredible deal today at shellshockcbd.com. You're going to get 10% off your purchase over at Shell Shock CBD for any of their Delta 8 or CBD products. Not everything that they have over there is going to get you high, make you feel high, but some of the products that they have over there are going to make you feel high, and that's always good. You got your Delta bar for the weekends, and you've got your CBD product for the rest of the week. I threw my back out a couple of weeks ago. I know you want to quit hearing me bitching about it, but as I get a little bit older, I've got to have things like the roll-on, roll-out CBD freeze roll-on, which, good God, if I hadn't had this, I don't know. This and Tylenol, I don't know what else I would have done. But the CBD freeze roll-on my lower back, and boy, that really helped to dull the pain. Because guess what? Your boy's getting older. I'm 42 years old, and I just can't fight like I used to. But when I do go into class and I have my karate class and I get a good workout afterwards, I'm usually very sore. But the CBD roll-on, roll-out, freeze roll-on has saved my life. That is my highest recommendation and endorsement for my buddy John Burke's company, shellshockcbd.com. Visit them today. Get 10% off if you use the code AP for Liberty. That's AP, the number 4, AP for Liberty. And you know how this works, right? An endorsement and a sponsorship. You got to use that code AP for Liberty, not only to get your discount, but it also helps to support the program. So if you're looking for some great pain relief or some products that are going to get you high, then visit shellshockcbd.com. Now, here's the deal. If you're saying to yourself, hey, guess what? I don't believe that these products actually work, Austin, and I'm going to try it. But if I don't like it, I want to send it back. Well, you can send it back and get yourself a free refund. That's right. They will give you back your money, 100% of your purchase price. Shipping included. Check them out. shellshockcbd.com. Use that code AP for Liberty. Support the show. Economic freedom, personal liberty, and help some of that lower back pain that you have right there. Some of that stuff make you feel really damn good. Probably use that on the weekends, though. Experience. We'll be back with more Daniela Pensack on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Oh, by the way, David Winery, thanks for subscribing to the Cantina Crew.
Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Step right up, ladies and gents, to learn about the coolest president yet. He's not just any old prez, he's Calvin Coolidge, and boy oh boy is he different from the rest. He was quiet as a mouse, but don't you underestimate his power. He knew how to handle money, and he didn't waste an hour. He cut taxes, lowered debt, and balanced the budget with ease. No wonder the Roaring Twenties brought such prosperity and peace. But don't take my word for it. Grab a copy of Calvin the Coolest President and see for yourself. It's a children's book that'll make you smile and help your little ones learn about wealth. You can find it on Amazon Kindle or get your hands on a paperback at apforlibertyshop.com. So come on down and get yourself a copy of the book that's making waves all around town. You won't regret it, so get ready to be floored because Calvin Coolidge, well, folks, he really scored.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every $1 we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
Do you have any real-world experience?
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at Wake Up America Show. We're grateful and glad to have you here. If you're tuning in now and you know the deal, make sure you click that like button on the show to help us spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. And of course, it's just a nice thing to do. It's totally free way to support the show. If you've never tuned into the Wake Up America show before, good morning. Grateful to have you here. If you like the content that you see today, before you leave, why don't you hit that subscribe button on whichever channel you're watching us on. We're on Apple, Fire TV, Roku, Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and well, anywhere else that'll have us this morning, which means we've got, looks like around maybe over 100 people watching us live right now. We're super grateful for that. Hope you'll come back and join us if you like what you're seeing today. All right, well, it is Pride Month, so we have been talking about a lot of Pride-related topics, and this one's no different. To infinity and beyond, the latest LGBTQIA+P2S plus Pride flag features now the rainbow infinity symbol. This is the latest update to the ever-evolving Pride flag, and now includes an infinity sign intended to symbolize autistic people. The jokes write themselves. I think maybe I'll let my next guest tell the jokes. I don't know. Daniela Pensac, she's a Turning Point USA field coordinator. She's joining us now. Good morning, Daniela.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, that flag. Boy, there's a lot to unpack here. So the original creator, for those of you that don't know, their name is Valentino Vecchietti, I believe. They were the creator of the intersex flag. So for those of you that don't know the intersex flag, that's the yellow flag with the purple circle in the middle of it. The original creator of that flag has created now a neurodivergent awareness flag, I guess you could call it, where it's meant to recognize all the broad experiences felt by the neurodivergent community, essentially autistic people and so forth. And this flag is pretty gaudy. I gotta admit, when I first saw it, I thought it was a parody. I didn't think it was a real flag. I thought it was like a Babylon Bee situation, but it's real. It's a Progress Pride flag with a rainbow infinity symbol on it. You guys likely have already seen it, and it's pretty cringeworthy, and it looks quite awful. And a lot of people, comedians, commentary people have also come out and spoke against this as we are today, because I don't think it could look any more foolish than this. I don't know how many more symbols they can plaster on this flag.
Well, Daniela, where is the connection between LGBT and autism supposed to come from?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the question we're all kind of thinking and wondering, like, what does autism have to do with sexuality or sexual identification? The real reason is that it has nothing to do with that. And what I think this infinity symbol is, actually, it's a psyop, you see. I think what it actually represents is the number of obligations that the gay community, or certain people from the gay community, not all of them, of course, but the number of obligations they expect from us, people watching this podcast and other normal people, to fulfill during this month and for the many months and years to follow. Because really, what the far left is doing and what the Rainbow Brigade and the Gay Stopo, and all the obligations that they're expecting of us to fulfill now, and to include all these different identities, it's becoming an infinite amount. And I think that's what this symbol really represents. I don't know, because essentially, like, what does autism have to do with the LGBTQIA plus ABCD community? It has nothing to do with it. And that's what makes this flag even more confusing.
Exactly. It would make a lot more sense if they took the infinity autism symbol and put it on the libertarian flag. Wouldn't you agree? If you're
Probably.
if you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. I am a libertarian, not a Libertarian Party member, but a philosophical and ideological one. And so is my current guest, the lovely Daniela Pensack, who gets up way early at the butt crack of dawn. It's 2 hours earlier on the West Coast where she's at. So why don't you give her a debt of gratitude? Show her that we have a debt of gratitude, and give a like on the stream so that more people will be able to see and hear her words this morning. I do like that term, gay stopo, and apparently so did the audience this morning. We're going to have to steal that one and use it. Thanks for the new vocab word today. But you were listening to Camille and I talking a few minutes earlier, and I do want to ask you about the rad trad viewpoint on things here. But I want to ask you specifically first about the whole idea of cisgender being banned on Twitter as a slur. Did you have a take on that?
I do. And I kind of have to agree with the conclusions that you guys came with. I don't think cis can be considered a slur, at least at this present moment, but that's beside the point. That's not really what I'm concerned with anyway. But I really find interesting about this and concerning is that, I am a big free speech advocate, and one of the biggest you probably ever met. So when I originally was really excited about Elon Musk taking on the platform, because I thought that, and he did to a degree, reinstate the free speech for that social media platform, and that we all frequently use. But seeing him go this direction and kind of like arbitrarily choose, what's a slur, what isn't a slur, and who is risk of temporary suspension and all that, I find that a little concerning, because originally I was wanting him to protect free speech on Twitter again. And he's just going down a slippery slope right now, I think. So it is a little concerning. And that, besides that, I just don't think it is a slur. But regardless, I think all forms of speech other than, incitement to violence and so forth should be protected on that platform.
Okay, well, Daniela, you are I would say not a radical traditionalist, because you're out on social media, right? You got a master's degree, right? So you went and got an advanced degree in an education, but you had an opinion on the traditionalist viewpoint and what Camille and I were saying a little bit earlier. Would you like to weigh in?
About like the trads, like social media influencers and so on.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, they're all grifters. I mean, let's just be real. I don't think anyone, uh, people who are fooled by those social media influencers that call themselves trad wives, they tend to be like 12-year-old boys, I think. I think everyone can see through the facade, in that, obviously a real traditional woman isn't going to be making a name for herself on social media. And that's kind of what that's what kind of gets under my skin with these people who do promote the trad lifestyle. There are aspects of it that are positive, and I can see why people gravitate to that. But at the same time, if you're really going to take it that seriously, and you're going to take it to, I don't know, its fullest extent, you're not going to be in social media at all, or really doing anything like that. So obviously it's a grift, and it is entertaining to see it unfold, but I just don't take any of that seriously.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson, and you're listening to the lovely Daniela Pensack. She is a field coordinator for Turning Point USA. She's joining us today to talk about a wide variety of issues. It is Pride Month, so we've been talking a little bit about some of the issues regarding Pride, but we were also talking a little bit about Elon Musk vowing to suspend Twitter users for, quote, harassment over slurs like cisgender and cis. So we've had to go through and determine exactly what the hell is cis exactly. But on another topic that you brought up to us, Daniela, this is Riley Gaines talking in front of Congress. I was playing a little bit of this clip earlier, where Riley Gaines was talking about the capabilities of males versus biological females, biological males and biological females in sports. And Riley Gaines appeared in Congress to testify. What was it about?
Yeah, so the other day there was like a special committee hearing held about the civil rights of LGBT folk, and Riley Gaines had spoken there, and she was basically described. And for those of you that don't know, she is an NCAA swim champion. She's lost to Leah Thomas a number of years ago, or she lost to Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas is a 6'4" biological male, so make with that what you will. But she had spoken and she had described her experience sharing the locker room with Leah Thomas and how officials basically disregarded her concerns with that and the other girls' concerns with that during that period. And she kind of fired back against Dick Durbin, the senator from Illinois. He's a Democrat, because he was very much concerned with the message that was being relayed to trans individuals about some of the comments that were held that day at that hearing. And she just fired back at him and said, look, you're not concerned with the right to privacy for young girls, and that you are risking that for appeasing a very small a minority of people, a very small number of people, and for the majority and their right to privacy. And so, she made that comment, and she's absolutely right, because that's what's happening here.
Now, right to privacy. I mean, in terms of like men and women's locker rooms and things like that, we are seeing it unfold in situations where women are being forced to be exposed to nude men. But there was a case, and I think you and I talked about it, Danielle, on this show, where a judge says, "Oh, it was okay because the man in question was too overweight, so they couldn't actually
Yeah.
see his genitals." What was that about?
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, with that case, it just simply was just a matter of fact that you couldn't see the person's genitals because they were too big, and so therefore it was okay. And in this case, if I understand correctly, the officials told Riley at the time that it was a unisex locker room, and so that was why it's okay, even though they kind of like. And Riley explained this at the hearing. She said, well, they essentially proved her point in saying that Leah Thomas is a male if they're saying it's a unisex locker room in that case, So is it a trans individual? Is it like a trans female? Is it a male? What is going on here? And so that is kind of how they brushed that, that problem aside, which again, very inappropriate. And yeah, we're seeing people come out and appease this minority, these trans minority individuals, and it is very concerning. And again, it's very much anti-feminist, and it is infringing on the privacy of women and their safe spaces.
I totally agree. What do you think? Send us a text today on the show with your opinions at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Daniela, where do you think this ends? Because honestly, it doesn't look good for people like you and I who defend the right of women to be allowed to change in a locker room with privacy. It doesn't seem like we're winning this conflict.
It does not, at least not at this moment. I do believe that, we have been seeing all these waves of feminism. We're up to the fourth wave of feminism. I genuinely think the next wave of feminism, or something like it, is going to be a new resurgence and wave of detransitioners, of people coming out trying to sue the medical community for what they are doing to majority it's young girls that are transitioning very early, once they hit puberty. And so I think what is going to happen is we are going to see a wave of people in the next, not now, but in a while, in a few years now, where they're going to look into this and say that, these are medical experiments being done. It is cruel and it is ruining the lives of people. And unfortunately, it may have to take a lot of terrible, heartbreaking stories to get the message across, because that's the direction we're going right now.
Chris Morrill over the live stream makes a good point. He says the news in the last several years, all trans all the time. It does seem to be an all-consuming subject, but probably because it's one that everyone can sort of identify with and it's easy for people to have an opinion on, wouldn't you say? Daniela?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, you cut out for just a second. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just a go-to story at this point, because it is so popular, and we are seeing, and they are selling products like, during Pride Month, we see all these products being sold that support this agenda and the trans agenda. And you see people buying it. Not now. Now we're finally seeing a pushback, at least with, with some demographics of people pushing back against the Bud Light scandal and all that. But for many years, people were consuming the products, they were buying into the hype. And so I feel like that an extension relates to what is going on here and why the news is covering the trans topic so often. But hopefully it will slow down once we see more people push back against it.
Completely unrelated question for you, Daniela, but I'm dying to get your take on this one to hear what the young libertarians think about this. Gun to your head, you have to choose who to vote for between Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Who do you vote for and why?
Really good question. So at this point in time, I will have to say I know I've heard a lot of good things about RFK. I really have. I haven't really looked into him extensively myself. And being a longtime GOP supporter and voter, at this point in time, I would have to pick Trump. I would have to look a little bit more into RFK to make that assessment. But I have been hearing good things about him. So my opinion could change just depending on the circumstance and depending on what Trump is, because Trump has been fumbling a lot lately. I feel like he's being a little bit too loudmouthed. It's getting a little annoying. So who knows, that it could be subject to change.
There you go, Daniela Pensack. Anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners today before we let you go?
Nothing specifically, but I will say, for the people out there who love conspiracy theories, follow me on TikTok. It's official Daniela Pensack at TikTok, and I'm on the verge of getting banned because I'm spreading so much truth. So follow me on there, and if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. It's just Pensack Daniela on Twitter.
There you go. Well, if you love conspiracy theories, I think you'd love RFK Jr. Daniela Pensack. She is 24 USA Field Coordinator. Thank you for your time. Thanks for your weekly segments here. They're always great. We appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming on. What do you think of Daniela Pensack? Send us a text, 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. All right, I'm going to go ahead and skip the commercial break today because we've got a nice number of people watching us on the several platforms. And I do want to give you a very brief update on one of the biggest stories in the world right now. The Titanic tourist sub missing in the Atlantic Ocean has officially run out of oxygen. The Titanic tourist submersible that vanished on a trip to this 111-year-old shipwreck is believed to have run out of oxygen. Authorities are still pushing ahead with the search operation this morning, but OceanGate Expeditions, which operates the Titan sub and whose CEO Stockton Rush is aboard the vessel, said that the vehicle was equipped with only 96 hours of oxygen. The timer ran out at 7:08 a.m. This morning. The status, of course, of these passengers is still unclear. U.S. and Canadian officials have been working around the clock to locate the missing Titan sub. The Coast Guard on Thursday morning confirmed that a remote-operated vehicle has reached the sea floor and started searching for the missing sub. So the French vessel L'Atlanta is preparing their ROV to enter the water it had added. Along with Rush, who served as the vessel's pilot, the missing include British billionaire Hamish Harding, Pakistani tech and energy mogul Shahzad Dawood, and his 19-year-old son Suleiman, as well as famed Titanic explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet. The U.S. Coast Guard said that it had received word from OceanGate about the missing submersible 8 hours after it lost contact with its mothership. Having quite a sinking feeling about this one, but despite the final stores of oxygen running out, they are still continuing rescue efforts. Aircraft fitted with sonar, sea vessels, deep sea exploration tools have all been deployed in an effort that have been coordinated by U.S., Canadian, and French officials to try and find this OceanGate Expedition submersible. They disappeared about an hour and 45 minutes into the exploration off the coast of Newfoundland on Sunday. Their air reserves were 96 hours. You can send us a text today at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586 if you think that I have missed any stories today. Just Via, who joined us just now over on Rumble, says that Mark Zuckerberg's got this one. I'm a Musk fanboy, but I just saw Zuck enter a real BJJ tournament and place. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Mark Zuckerberg, he's got actual jujitsu skills, and I wouldn't want to mess with it. Here, take a look at this. Some of this stuff here that I pulled of Mark Zuckerberg's training sequences here. Boom, boom. 1, 2. Nice Mawashigeri. That's Japanese roundhouse kick. He's got a 1-2-3. Good. He works the outside. Let me show you something about Mark Zuckerberg here. Watch this. Now he goes the one. Now see that hook punch that he's got right there. That third punch. That's really important right there for the technique, because I want you to watch how Zuckerberg moves. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now see, he moves to the outside of his opponent there. Let me show you this again. 1, 2, 3. So that hook punch, right, when he's coming around and he's making that move, he steps to the outside of his opponent and goes for that hook punch. That's more of an advanced training than you would typically see for most people who train martial arts. That's good stuff. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. Am I the only one impressed by Austin's pronouncing of French names? Yeah, well, the funny thing is that I actually speak some French. So I took j'étude pour 4 ans à l'école secondaire pour arriver dimanche. Bonjour lundi, comment va mercredi? Très bien mercredi. Et toi jeudi pour dit à vendredi. Pour arriver dimanche, I can't remember how that thing went, but yeah, j'étude pour 4 ans à l'école secondaire. Oui, j'étude. I studied à l'école secondaire. J'étude pour 4 ans. 4 ans for 4 years. Is that 4 or 5? 5 ans. 5 ans en 4 ans. So, yeah, a little bit of French. Oui, très bien. Which was kind of sad last week when I got into this big fight with the entire nation of France. Did you see that I posted that meme about all those French people who were angry at me for talking about that migrant who stabbed a baby? And then, like, all of France was attacking us and stuff like that. And I was like, well, as much as I love France, I love America more. America, heck yeah. Coming again to save the mother heckin' world, yeah. Just Via says, yep, he's slipping off the line. Exactly. That's what you got to do. You got to slip off the line, boom, get that hook punch, move on around to the outside. I learned that one from Stephen Wonderboy Thomas, who practices the same karate that I do. See, the thing is about the thumbnail picture of Zuck versus Musk, the Let Them Fight, is that the Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk pictures are fake. Obviously, the Musk one's fake because he's not buff like that. But the picture of me in my karate gi, it's all real, baby. Domo arigato gozaimasu. The first rule of karate is rei, which is respect. Rei. And Dojo Kun, seek perfection of character, be faithful, endeavor, respect others, refrain from violent behavior. Shomani, right? Arigato gozaimasu. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Onegashimasu. A little bit of Japanese, a little bit of French, but I'm still all American, baby. Hell yeah. From now on,
it's going to be America first, okay? America first.
It's America first, baby. If you're enjoying the show this morning, just think you could get this show free every single day, but you got to click subscribe on whichever channel that you're watching us on this morning. There's 37 people on Rumble, 37 people on YouTube. That's 67, a little bit over 70 people watching us on those two stations. You're watching us possibly on Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Give us a big shout out if you're watching us over there this morning to the new people who are tuning into the show. Just Via says, yeah, man, wifey and I used to make annual trip to Paris. It's gone downhill fast over the years. God, yeah, see, my wife and I, we want to visit it too before it's completely hung out to dry. And we also want to visit Germany as well because, God, those European cities are really going downhill, aren't they? All right, well, I've still got 5 more minutes to go. This is a song that I pulled, or song. This is a story that I had pulled for you out on Monday, but frankly, the Titanic news and all the great guests that I've had have precluded me from being able to talk about it. And now, since I've got a few more minutes, it's time for us to talk about 7 hit 80s songs that are offensive by today's standards. 70 hit 80s songs that are offensive by today's standards. Yes, offensive. Going to be good stuff here. Don't Stand So Close to Me by The Police. Do you remember this song? Don't Stand So Close to Me, big hit by The Police, right? But have you ever listened to the lyrics? I love these reading articles like these because the people who write the articles are actually offended, whereas I don't give a rip and I can just make fun of them for being offended. But the opening lines of the song are, young teacher, the subject of schoolgirl fantasy. And the song goes to reference how this girl is half his age. Okay, maybe that is a little offensive. The lyrics also name check the writer Vladimir Nabokov, who wrote Lolita, a novel about a teacher who abuses his young stepdaughter. In May of 2023, Police lead singer and songwriter Sting looked back on the song in a People interview. He's The artist was a teacher trying to making it big as a musician, but he assured the magazine that "Don't Stand So Close to Me" is not about him. He says it's certainly not biographical, but people having relationships with teachers, it definitely happens, he said. And in the song's defense, nothing happens. It's just the danger of something happens and the teacher is aware of it, which is why he's saying, "Don't stand so close to me." I remember when I was a teacher's assistant and I was like 17 years old, right? So I was in high school and they would send you as a teacher's assistant over to the middle school to help teachers teach the middle schoolers. And one of the things that they would teach you in the workshops before you would, as a teacher's aide, go to the middle school, is they'd have a training for us to say, hey, just so you know, when you go over to the middle school, just so you know, like the middle school girls like are going to flirt with you, right? So like you have to be aware of that and you have to understand that like they're going to do things to try and get close to you and you're going to have to like know the signs of that and stay away from them. That was like part of the official training. And again, I wasn't an adult, I was still a teenager, right? So it wasn't like, the sting situation where it's an actual teacher with a student, stuff like that. But they would do things like that. And like the middle school girls would like, get like, "Hi, Mr. Peterson." It's kind of like that scene in Billy Madison. Remember the scene Billy Madison where like Billy's like reading and all the little girls are like, "What's the song? What is that song that's playing when Billy Madison is in the school?" And like all the little girls are like, "Oh yeah, I'm not the one that you are looking for. I'm not the one." And all the little girls are like, "Oh, Billy." And then they like pan to the male teacher and the teacher is like giving Billy a Valentine and he's like, "P.S. I'm horny, Billy." All right, I think I managed to talk about that without being too inappropriate. Dude looks like a lady. You had to know that was coming. What? Dude looks like a lady. Dude looks like a lady. Yeah, I was inspired by Aerosmith lead singer Steven Tyler mistaking Vince Neil from Motley Crue for a woman when he saw him at a bar because of Neil's long hair. But the lyrics and music video, writes bestlife.com, take the song into transphobic territory. Oh.
God! No, God, please,
No.
no! No!
Both contain confused depictions of either a transgender woman or a cross-dresser. Oh my God, no! The lyrics include, "So never judge a book by its cover," or "Who you gonna love" by your lover, saying, "Love put me wise to her love in disguise. She had the body of a Venus. Lord, imagine my surprise." Dude looks like a lady. Anyways, so the gay community apparently feels insulted because they're all a monolith these days and all of that kind of stuff. Justin's influence is showing, says Brian Lewis. Very funny and very true. Anyways, the transgender community is outraged by "Dude Looks Like a Lady." "Money for Nothing" by Dire Straits, now an offensive song. It was a big hit for Dire Straits, but the lyrics included 3 uses of the F slur. The song describes the type of music and musicians that have been successful on MTV. The lyrics referring to an anonymous pop star see the little F word with the earring and makeup. Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. That little F word got his own jet airplane. That little F word, he's a millionaire. The Guardian reported that lead singer and songwriter Mark Knopfler reflected on hearing criticism of the lyrics back when the song came out. He said in an interview he received a rejection from the editor of a gay newspaper in London. "How dare you, sir?" In performances of the song, the band has replaced the slur with other words, including Queenie.
How dare you?
So apparently Dire Straits' song "Money for Nothing" now offensive. Number 4, 80 songs that are offensive now. "One in a Million" by Guns N' Roses. There are about a million ways in which 1 in a million is offensive. The song includes the F word, the N word, and multiple xenophobic insults about immigrants. These are not my words. This is from the website Best Life. I'm just reading it. Making it not just offensive by today's standards, but shocking when it was released in 1988. The difference is that it would be released to even more backlash today. Well, you couldn't get away with anything today. 1 in a Million by Guns N' Roses. Lyrics include police and N-word. That's right. Get out of my way. Don't need to buy none of your gold chains today. Oh,
How dare you?
And immigrants and F words, they make no sense to me. They come to our country and think they'll do as they please, like start some mini Iran or spread some F word disease. Oh my God. Dude looks like a lady. What about turning Japanese? The day that Stephanie and I were packing to leave for Japan, I was playing this song like on repeat. I think I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. Turning Japanese it could be interpreted in many different ways. They say it was widely rumored that the song was about onanism. Do you know what onanism is, kids? Onanism. It's the M word, right? I can't say too much stuff on this podcast this morning, get demonetized. I know you're probably saying to yourself, Austin, don't be a coward and say these words. I'm not going to say them. You say them, okay? I'm not going to say them. You say them. But don't say them in my chat because I really don't want to get this stream demonetized, right? Because it's hard enough to make money as it is online. All right. Turning Japanese, according to Song Facts, turning Japanese is all about the cliches of angst and youth and turning into something you didn't expect to. No sex, no drugs, no wine, no women, no fun, no sin, no you. No wonder it's dark. Everyone around me is a total stranger. Everyone avoids me like a psyched Lone Ranger. Everyone. That's why I'm turning Japanese. Even if the song is not mocking Japanese facial features, it was a metaphor about the disillusionment and foreignness written by a white man. No, not a white man. How dare a white man write a song? We're talking about songs that are offensive from the 1980s. Do They Know It's Christmas by Band-Aid, 1984. It was recorded for a good cause, but its lyrics are harmful, according to this writer. The song is by Band-Aid. This was a super group. It included Bono, George Michael, Phil Collins, and Sting. And it was supposed to help with famine in Ethiopia, but the song's lyrics characterize the whole of Africa as an entirely negative place. There won't be snow in Africa this Christmas time. The greatest gift they'll get this year is life, they sing. Where nothing ever grows, no rain nor rivers flow. Do they know it's Christmas time at all? Another line that stands out is, well, tonight, thank God, it's them instead of you. All right, that might be a little bit too far, don't you think? All right, what about 17 by Winger, right? Ask any adult man pursuing a 17-year-old. Any song about a man pursuing a 17-year-old would be questionable today, but Winger's hit song, of course, is especially eyebrow-raising with lyrics like, she's only 17, daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me, and yes, such a bad girl, loves to work me overtime, feels good dancing close to the borderline. Well, did you like that story? It's funny, isn't it? That's good stuff. Oh, here's the thing. You just don't get talk shows, morning talk shows, that are going to give you this kind of breadth of content. Think about all the guests that you got to view today. If you watched this whole show with us live today, can I just get a little pat on the back? Just a little one, right? So I don't ask for much, right? Do I? Actually, I probably ask for a lot, maybe too much, but I have to, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Visit apforlibertyshop.com today and check out all of the weird cracked stuff that comes out of my cracked brain that I put on t-shirts and other kind of merchandise. You can visit apforlibertyshop.com. The 4th of July sale is still going on, but there's no way that I can get you your 4th of July shoes on time. Just so you know, if you were thinking, I'm going to order those would not be able to make it by the 4th of July. Your t-shirts and other items would be able to arrive, but you got to order them today. Visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, apforlibertyshop.com. Visit that today. And if you haven't heard about my new documentary, Bleed American, about the Battle of Athens, make sure you check that out at givesendgo.com/Bleed American. I work so hard to bring you an awesome morning show every single day. So why don't you click subscribe before you leave so that you can tune into the show. Tomorrow morning is Family Friday, which means that my beautiful, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie Peterson, will be joining us in studio, which is always fun. And she loves to be on here and join us. And she loves you guys. And we all get to hang out and act as friends. So why don't you come back tomorrow morning and join us and see what all the hubbub is about on Family Fridays, where we sit down and we act like radical traditionalists now. My wife is a libertarian chick, which means that she's free to do as she pleases. She just happens to want to please me the first. As we will. How dare you? How dare you? We'll see you tomorrow on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It was 1946. A battle was fought, not overseas, but right here on American soil. The Battle of Athens, an intense struggle against election fraud and for the rights promised by our founding fathers. Driven by the Second Amendment, ordinary citizens stood tall and fought back. Help us expose this momentous battle of integrity and bravery. Your support can make a difference. Visit givesendgo.com/bleedamerican and pledge your support, because we believe in the power of truth, the strength of unity, and the spirit of we the people. Let us not forget, we bleed American.
Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Petersen stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.